I thought I would pop in for a quick live and do a demonstration of some different choices that we have when working on a metallic finish. I'm going to turn this around for a second. Remember the chair that we're working on? I started putting a little bit of this Deco Art metallic and champagne on it the other day. That's not what I want up there, but what I have, I'm trying to decide what I want before I finish the chair. So I grabbed an old cabinet door, and I grabbed, let me see if I can see all these. I grabbed just everything that I could find very quickly that had a metallic finish to it, and we're going to try it on this board. So I'm going to, let me make sure that I can get on here, that way if you have any, here we are. If you have any questions during it or any comments, I should be able to see them on my tablet. But I'm going to now be out of the picture and just spin this down to where you can see what we got going on. This is not even cleaned up. This is not prepped or anything. This is an old cabinet door that somebody gave me that I have, and I wiped it off with a baby wipe. That's all the prep that I did for this. And I'll just go over real quick what we have. I thought I had some Dixie Belle Gold. I was out. I have this Dixie Belle Copper, so we're going to try it. And with theirs, it requires a base coat, a couple of coats of base coat and a top coat. So I'm going to put some of this on here first, a couple of the base coats, so it can be drying before we move forward. And this is what it looks like on the inside. All of these, I didn't pre-open my lids today or anything like that. I just figured I would let y'all see the reality of what may or may not happen. And I'll hold this board up close at the very end. But this is the, you double check before I do it, this is the Dixie Belle Metallic Copper Base Coat. And I'll do it first and put an amount of it there on the board, and hopefully it can be drying. And I just took some off of the lid. I guess y'all saw that, off this little seal thing. So I'm going to set that aside so I'll remember that was first. And in a minute we'll have to put another coat of that. And hopefully that brush won't dry out in the meantime. Next we have, this is Golden Ticket by DIY. We'll put it next to it. That's their a liquid patina. I've used this. I've used the Dixie Belle Copper. Was gorgeous. I have done that. It does take 2 or 3 steps because of the base coat and top coat. And I used that, if you watch the video that I did on the purple nightstands with the flowers on it, part of the leaves and the decorations on that were done in the Dixie Belle Copper. And if you saw the pink vanity that I did, petticoat pink DIY vanity, I did the whole vanity top in this this Golden Ticket. And this stuff can sometimes be hard to come by. It's hi Sandra, it's like people get like all in a bind whenever we run out of it, and sometimes the company's out of it for a while, and you get some and it like sells out in a day. So it's extremely popular DIY brand product. So here's what it looks like. I'm gonna grab this brush here for that, and again just take it out of the lid. This one is supposed to be slightly transparent, I think, but when I used it on the top of the vanity, it was not. It was pretty solid, so I was pleased with that. So there's a coat of that. I'm gonna try to leave them all in order here, so at the end we know what was what. I may just save this board and write what they were on top of it in case we ever need to know this again. Okay, that third, we'll do this Deco Art Elegant Finish in champagne gold. So we know that the golds are not all going to be the exact same shades and things like that, because this, I'm just going with what I had, you know. Woo, I about spilled that. And a champagne gold, if you're working on a furniture piece like for sale and not exactly for somebody or whatever, this is very, very thin, but it almost glistens. using a champagne gold allows it to match in more homes, because it will look gold next to gold fixtures, and it'll look silver next to silver fixtures, and just be a good, you know, sort of universal color to use to match more people. It's thin. Now this is, you know, Deco Art is a brand that you would find in Walmart or wherever. I got this off of Amazon. Hey, Tanya. And it's not going to be as highly pigmented as your, like, Dixie Belle's and DIYs and brands that, you know, pride themselves on being highly pigmented. So it looks to me from this here so far that I would end up needing 2 or 3 coats of that to equal 1 coat of the others. Okay, here is some Folk Art enamels. This is a metallic gold. I bought this for painting Christmas ornaments. Let me see if I'll use this brush here for that. I'm gonna just squirt it right on the board. Y'all can still see that, right? Hey, Laura. We'll put this one here. This one is supposed to be, let me show you the cap on this, because there's so many of these cheap ones there. I bought this because it's good to paint on glass, but that it's a multi-surface product. That actually is very pretty and giving us good coverage. I'll tell you what I did do. I'll tell off on myself here a little. I painted all those ornaments using all this stuff, and I don't know if y'all watched that, but some of those I squirted the paint inside of them, and you know, I thought that when I drained them out that it was like most of it out or whatever. Well, then you got to bake them in the oven for a little while to heat set that, and it wasn't dry in there, and it bubbled out of there, and my muffin pans are now forever paint pans because they have red and gold and teal all over them. Let's get back to the project. There we go. Let's see. Another option, this is the one I bought specifically because this is what I really thought I wanted to use on this project. And, you know, I have never had luck with gold leaf. And that's where you put down some sort of adhesive, and then you have these miraculously thin pieces of aluminum foil or gold foil, and you lay them on there, and it sucks it up and looks gorgeous, and it's supposed to be real gold. Hey, Laura. And, but I just found out that they have a liquid leaf. So that's what we're going to be trying today. And that's, boy, it's thin, man. Thin as water. Look at, just goes right out of there. But let's see what happens. Oh my goodness. It's a totally different shade of gold than the others. It's definitely more of a reddish yellow gold. You definitely probably should do this in a ventilated area. It smells like model glue. And it is pretty thin, but that was because I kept dipping my brush back in there because I thought I didn't have any on it. But you can see how thin that is. But look how nice the coverage is too. So we'll just have to see, because I'm going to try this real quick. What I intended on doing for that piece was just kind of, that chair is kind of edging around with it like this. So it looks like if you have just a little on your brush, you could do that pretty easily. So hopefully y'all can see that. Let's see if we can do it over this piece of hardware. Okay, throw that one in there. And what I grabbed next was a couple of inks. This one, I have a bright gold, and I guess this is like an aged gold, a darker one, and alcohol inks they're called. So hopefully I can drop a drip on here and not get too crazy with it. Wait, did I put whatever? No, I didn't put in order. You put that where it goes, so we know what was next. And I'll do a thin line of this antique looking gold, almost a bronze look. And that's pretty thick and going on well. It's actually thicker than the this one was, the liquid leaf. Okay, and then just a comparison of the lighter gold. This is definitely very much yellow gold. but I'm shocked at how well it's staying on the board. I use those like in scrapbooking and mixed media projects and things like that a good bit. Now the yellow gold isn't as thick and doesn't have as much coverage as the old gold, but it's still pretty nice. Let me do a little edge over here with that to see. I usually drip this on or spray that on, and you know, to get a different kind of look with that. And this is called Solar Gold. Have no idea, don't remember what it was. It's something that I got at a scrapbooking convention. Look, it's a powder. We're still gonna try it. That's what we're here for. See if I can find a small brush. Here we go. Just dipping in and getting some of the powder. I think if you were, some of it stayed on there, if you were wanting to sort of just dust a little bit of an idea of gold on top, that would be a great idea. Oh, this is something I've used a lot. This one, let's see if it, this is an antique gold, but it's called Rub and Buff. And you're probably supposed to put it on your project, but I always just put it on my finger. See if I can squirt some out. It's old. Oh, you're joking me right now. So there's still a lot in here. I've hardly used this on anything. And it doesn't feel like it's hardened. But it is not wanting to come out the end. Let me job a paintbrush down in the hole. That's not working. Rub and Buff is not cheap either. I don't remember what I paid for it, but I was highly impressed with the product whenever I first got to use it. But I don't have anything sharp enough to stab it with. So just know that if you were in a big bind, your Rub and Buff may leave you hanging. Try it. Aha, got it in. Here it comes. And it's thick, it's kind of like a wax. We'll rub it just to the right of the dust. And you can buff that in and get that. That does very good. I'm going to put some on this handle. It does very good on the hardware and things like that too. It's an awesome product for hardware. And you could buff that on and, you know, get as much of it off or get it as shiny as you want it. And you can get this at probably Lowe's. Okay, this is Art O brand in copper, and it looks like it's making a patina in there already. Softer than the Rub and Buff, but very similar. Wow, that's pretty if you wanted to go with the copper. It smells good actually too, which is kind of odd. Okay, then we have the Gilding Wax in Warm Gold from Dixie Belle. You know what, I'm going to put it that second coat of this undercoat on here, so we're not waiting on it in a minute, of the Dixie Belle. And it looks like, looking through this blue here, it probably could use a third coat, but we're not going to go with the third coat. We're going to, that kind of wouldn't be fair to the rest of them to sit here and do a whole bunch. But I did want to follow the instructions. Okay, this is the Gilding Wax from Dixie Belle. And it's probably not a whole lot different than this if I've got a clean finger to use it with. It's a lot thicker, just comparing it now to the Rub and Buff that I just used and the Ardo that I just used. So I'm going to try to get plenty on my finger. And we'll just come down to the next row. And this is more for like embellishing and gilding at the end, not to get a whole solid surface. If you had like a decorative edge or something, like the rounded area on here that you wanted to, here we'll do it, to put that on, that does look actually awesome right there. Way better than it looks right here. Let me buff it in a little bit. That doesn't look too bad. I probably have too much, but I'm trying to be fair here. And your other option would be using something like an epoxy or just a top coat. Let me see. I don't have just a top coat sitting here, but another option is always glitter. This is just a fine Martha Stewart glitter. Bought this like at Tuesday morning, marked down. But you would put your top coat or your clear coat or your epoxy or whatever down, sprinkle your glitter all over it, let that dry, and then you're going to have to put more coats of top coat and more coats of more coats of whatever you use over that in order to make it not feel stiff, or you know, you wouldn't want that on the seat of a chair, but I've seen people do it on the whole back of a chair and then put 2 or 3 coats of epoxy on it afterward. This is a spray. I only had this in a glimmer, what do they call it? A glimmer mist by Tattered Angels. I have a whole bunch of these. Some of them I bought at scrapbook places. Some of them I bought at Tuesday morning. Put that one there. We talked about the glitter. We've already done the gilding wax. Okay, so that's all of them. Me put the dryer on this Dixie Belle real quick, or on all of them, I guess. I'm going to sprinkle a little of this on that Tattered Angels because it's still wet anyways, and that's not even showing anything, so we'll kind of see what happens. Let's go ahead and put the top coat on the Dixie Belle. And I will have, if you're interested in all of these others, I picked up, you know, other places. But if you're interested in the Dixie Belle or the DIY, I have an affiliate link for that. Just let me know and I'll put it in below. But I was kind of pleased at how this looked on that last project. But if any of the others, like if you're interested in them, just ask a question and I can give you an Amazon link or something like that to make sure you're getting the right one. Now let's knock that glitter off. Okay. So let me dry it this a tad. So here's the comparison, and they are all totally different looking, but this is the Dixie Belle. It took, and this one's copper. It's not going to look like the others because it is copper instead of gold, but they do make a gold. I was just out, so it took 2 coats of the base coat and 1 coat of the top coat, and it definitely has a metallic look to it. And the next one was the DIY Golden Ticket Liquid Patina, and I'm actually pretty impressed with that. It gave a more solid impression than I thought it was going to do. The next one, probably my least impressive of all, was the Deco Art Elegant Finish, and it looks like it would maybe take 2 or 3 coats. We could put another coat on here real quick. Let's do it to be fair to what we did with the Dixie Belle. It's still not covering, but I got what I paid for there and paid more than I should have, I'm sure. But I wanted the champagne gold. Okay, so there's the champagne gold and the Deco Art. Still see quite a bit of the blue through there. Then I actually am very impressed with the Folk Art enamels in metallic gold here. This one is real metal from what I understand. That's the Liquid Leaf. And next are the alcohol inks. These are really good for canvas and other projects. That we put the dark one, then the yellow gold. And then we had something called Solar Gold, which was a powder here. The Rub and Buff, where are we? The Rub and Buff actually did pretty dang good. Can y'all see that? It's probably the thickest, best coverage of all. I had one more I should have used. Then the Artso, that was more of a coppery color, but it had a good coverage. But that's another wax. Then we had the gilding wax from Dixie Belle. Get it up there. And I put the spray and the glitter here, but I forgot something. Let me do one more thing real quick. I brought, this is a bronze, just a Liquitex Basics acrylic paint. So we sprayed a little bit of the shiny mist under there, which didn't give us a whole lot of coverage, but that's not what it's for. Sometimes you want just a little bit of a shimmer, even less than like a pearlescent glaze would give you, and the shimmers are good for that. I use them on canvases a lot. Then we had put the glitter on top of that, and you know, you would have to put more coats of something over it or it's going to rub off and be all over everything you own. And then here is the regular latex paint, Liquitex brand, in bronze. So hopefully that gives you an indication if you're trying or thinking about adding a little bit of a metallic to a project. Gives you some ideas of which ones would be the best to use for what your project is. I'm thinking right this minute I'm probably gonna go and look at the coverage now that this is drying more. I'm probably gonna go with the Dixie Belle. So thank y'all for joining me. I appreciate you, and if there's anything else you would like me to try out for you, just let me know, and if I've got the stuff, I'll do it right away. If I don't, I'll get the stuff. Thanks, bye.